Rune 40 of the Kalevala. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. The Kalevala, compiled by Elias Lönnrot, translated by John Martin Crawford. Rune 40, Birth of the Harp. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, onward steered his goodly vessel. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, onward steered his goodly vessel from the isle of Lemminkainen, from the borders of the village, steered his warship through the waters, sang it o'er the ocean billows, joyful steered it to Pohjola. On the banks were maidens standing, and the daughters spake these measures. List the music on the waters, what this wonderful rejoicing, what this singing on the billows. Far more beautiful this singing, this rejoicing on the waters, than our ears have heard in Northland. Wainamoinen the magician steered his wonder vessel onward, steered one day along the seashore, steered the next through shallow waters, steered the third day through the rivers. Then the reckless Lemminkainen suddenly some words remembered he had heard along the fire stream near the cataract and whirlpool, and these words the hero uttered: "Cease, O cataract, thy roaring, cease, O waterfall, thy foaming, maidens of the foam and current, sitting on the rocks in water, on the stone blocks in the river, take the foam and white-capped billows in your arms and still their anger, that our ships may pass in safety. Aged dame beneath the eddy, thou that livest in the sea foam, swimming rise above the waters, lift thy head above the whirlpool, gather well the foam and billows in thine arms and still their fury, that our ship may pass in safety. Ye, O rocks beneath the current, underneath the angry waters, lower well your heads of danger, sink below our magic vessel, that our ship may pass in safety." Should this prayer prove inefficient, Kimo, hero son of Kammo, bore an outlet with thine auger, cut a channel for this vessel through the rocks beneath the waters, that our ship may pass in safety. Should all this prove unavailing, hostess of the running water, change to moss these rocky ledges, change this vessel to an airbag, that between these rocks and billows it may float and pass in safety. Virgin of the sacred whirlpool, thou whose home is in the river, spin from flax of strongest fiber, spin a thread of crimson color, draw it gently through the water, that the thread our ship may follow, and our vessel pass in safety. Goddess of the helm, thou daughter of the ocean winds and sea foam, take thy helm endowed with mercy, guide our vessel through these dangers, hasten through these floods enchanted, passing by the house of envy, by the gates of the enchanters, that our ship may pass in safety. Should this prayer prove inefficient, Ukko, ruler of creation, guide our vessel with thy fire sword, guide it with thy blade of lightning, through the dangers of these rapids, through the cataract and whirlpool, that our ship may pass in safety. Thereupon old Wainamoinen steered his boat through winds and waters, through the rocky chinks and channels, through the surges wildly tossing, and the vessel passed in safety through the dangers of the current, through the sacred stream and whirlpool, as it gains the open waters, gains at length the broad lake's bosom, suddenly its motion ceases, on some object firmly anchored, thereupon young Ilmarinen, and the aid of Lemminkainen, plunges in the lake the rudder, struggles with the aid of magic, but he cannot move the vessel, cannot free it from its moorings. Wainamoinen, old and truthful, thus addresses his companion: "O thou hero Lemminkainen, stoop and look beneath this warship, see on what the boat is anchored, see on what our craft is banging, in the broad expanse of water, in the broad lake's deepest soundings, if upon some rock or tree snag, or upon some other hindrance." Thereupon wild Lemminkainen looked beneath the magic vessel, peering through the crystal waters, spake, and these the words he uttered: "Does not rest upon a sandbar, nor upon a rock or tree snag, but upon the back and shoulders of the mighty pike of Northland, on the fin bones of the monster." Wainamoinen, old and trusty, spake these words to Lemminkainen: "Many things we find in water, rocks and trees and fish and sea duck. Are we on the pike's broad shoulders, on the fin bones of the monster? Pierce the waters with thy broadsword, cut the monster into pieces." Thereupon wild Lemminkainen, reckless wizard, filled with courage, pulls his broadsword from his girdle, from its sheath the bone divider, strikes with might of magic hero, headlong falls into the water. And the blacksmith Ilmarinen lifts the wizard from the river, speaks these words to dripping Ahti: "Accidents will come to mortals, accidents will come to heroes, by the hundreds, by the thousands, even to the gods above us." Then the blacksmith Ilmarinen drew his broadsword from his girdle, from its sheath his blade of honor, tried to slay the pike of Northland with the weapon of his forging, but he broke his sword in pieces, did not harm the water monster. Wainamoinen, old and trusty, thus addresses his companions: "Poor apologies for heroes, when occasion calls for victors, when we need some great magician, need a hero filled with valor, then the arm that comes is feeble, and the mind insane or witless, strength and reason gone to others." Straightway ancient Wainamoinen, miracle of strength and wisdom, draws his fire sword from his girdle, wields the mighty blade of magic, strikes the pike beneath the vessel, and impales the mighty monster. Raises him above the surface, in the air the pike he circles, cuts the monster into pieces, to the water falls the pike tail, to the ship the head and body, easily the ship moves onward. Wainamoinen, old and faithful, to the shore directs his vessel, on the strand the boat he anchors, looks in every nook and corner, for the fragments of the monster, gathers well the parts together, speaks these words to those about him: "Let the oldest of the heroes slice for me the pike of Northland, slice the fish to fitting morsels." Answered all the men and heroes, and the maidens spake assenting: "Worthier the catcher's fingers, Wainamoinen's hands are sacred." Thereupon the wise magician drew a fish knife from his girdle, sliced the pike to fitting morsels, spake again to those about him: "Let the youngest of the maidens cook for me the pike of Northland, set for me a goodly dinner." All the maidens quick responded, all the virgins vied in cooking, neither could outdo the other, thus the pike was rendered toothsome. Feasted all the old magicians, feasted all the younger heroes, feasted all the men and maidens. On the rocks were left the fish bones, only relics of their feasting. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, looked upon the pile of fragments, on the fish bones looked and pondered, spake these words in meditation: "Wondrous things might be constructed from the relics of this monster, were they in the blacksmith's furnace, in the hands of the magician, in the hands of Ilmarinen." Spake the blacksmith of Wainola: "Nothing fine can be constructed from the bones and teeth of fishes, by the skillful forger artist, by the hands of the magician." These the words of Wainamoinen: "Something wondrous might be builded from these jaws and teeth and fish bones, might a magic harp be fashioned, could an artist be discovered that could shape them to my wishes." But he found no fishbone artist that could shape the harp of joyance, from the relics of their feasting, from the jawbones of the monster, to the will of the magician. Thereupon wise Wainamoinen set himself at work designing, quick became a fishbone artist, made a harp of wondrous beauty, lasting joy and pride of Suomi. Whence the harp's enchanting arches? From the jawbones of the monster. Whence the necessary harp pins? From the pike teeth firmly fastened. Whence the sweetly singing harp strings? From the tail of Lempo's stallion. Thus was born the harp of magic, from the mighty pike of Northland, from the relics of the feasting of the heroes of Wainola. All the young men came to view it, all the aged with their children, mothers with their beauteous daughters, maidens with their golden tresses, all the people of the islands came to view the harp of joyance, pride and beauty of the Northland. Wainamoinen, ancient minstrel, let the aged try the harp strings, gave it to the young magicians, to the dames and to their daughters, to the maidens silver tinseled, to the singers of Wainola. When the young men touched the harp strings, then arose the notes of discord. When the aged play upon it, dissonance their only music. Spake the wizard Lemminkainen: "O ye witless, worthless children, O ye senseless, useless maidens, O ye wisdom-lacking heroes, cannot play this harp of magic, cannot touch the notes of concord. Give to me this thing of beauty, hither bring the harp of fish bones, let me try my skillful fingers." Lemminkainen touched the harp strings, carefully the strings adjusted, turned the harp in all directions, fingered all the strings in sequence, played the instrument of wonder, but it did not speak in concord, did not sing the notes of joyance. Spake the ancient Wainamoinen: "There is none among these maidens, none among these youthful heroes, none among the old magicians that can play the harp of magic, touch the notes of joy and pleasure. Let us take the harp to Pohja, there to find a skillful player that can touch the strings in concord." Then they sailed to Sariola, to Pohjola took the wonder, there to find the harp a master. All the heroes of Pohjola, all the boys and all the maidens, ancient dames and bearded minstrels, vainly touched the harp of beauty. Louhi, hostess of the Northland, took the harp strings in her fingers. All the youth of Sariola, youth of every tribe and station, vainly touched the harp of fishbone. Could not find the notes of joyance, dissonance their only pleasure. Shrieked the harp strings like the whirlwinds, all the tones were harsh and frightful. In the corner slept a blind man, lay a graybeard on the oven, rousing from his couch of slumber, murmured thus within his corner: "Cease at once this wretched playing, make an end of all this discord. It benumbs mine ears for hearing, racks my brain, despoils my senses, robs me of the sweets of sleeping. If the harp of Suomi's people true delight cannot engender, cannot bring the notes of pleasure, cannot sing to sleep the aged, cast the thing into the waters, sink it in the deeps of ocean, take it back to Kalevala, to the home of him that made it, to the hands of its creator." Thereupon the harp made answer, to the blind man sang these measures: "Shall not fall upon the waters, shall not sink within the ocean. I will play for my creator, sing in melody and concord, in the fingers of my master." Carefully the harp was carried to the artist that had made it, to the hands of its creator, to the feet of Wainamoinen. End of Rune 40. Recording by Kyle Robb.